So console is very, 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 very small. PC is almost inexistent, right? I mean, like, I wouldn't classify Solitaire as a game. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, I don't know.
Well, Solitaire is actually in the terms of being a game. Whether you look at
it is a game. Oh yeah, it is a game. But like, it's like the default. It's like Pac-Man. Like, you know, if someone played Pac-Man and says, "Oh, I'm a gamer," like, you know, it's not. You know, it doesn't really work that way. And then, like, you know, you have the online again, which we don't have any real role to play in online because of the data requirements. So mobile is where the huge opportunity is, right? Because if you look at the numbers, you know, like, they're close to, like, what, 130 million.
Exactly. If you look at look, I think it was about 200 million from NCC recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In terms of mobile population, so it's not for what is meant to be said for smartphone, because the mobile will either have smartphone or normal.
Yeah. So I'm coming out to it. So first of all, you look at the number of, like, you know, fixed mobile lines. Then you look at the number of people who actually use the internet, because yes, you can by default have games on your devices if you're offline, but, you know, having connectivity enables you to really have real access. You know, if Malio built a new game today, the only way you get access to it is if you have connectivity, right? So I'm not gonna looking at people who don't have internet connection, right? So that number is about 92 million. And then you break that down to, okay, people who have smart devices, right? So essentially, once you start to, you know, like, dissect it, then you see, like, the addressable market is somewhere around about between, say, 20 to 50 million, like, really, really addressable market, right? Who can consume your games? So in terms of the economic value, that is kind of like where the numbers, you know, that's how you work,
Exactly.
right? We have the population, we have the devices, right? Now we need to onboard all of those people.
Yeah. All right. So something interesting which happened is that Zubair published an article on the Guardian. Right, Zubair, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We're not getting him anymore.
Sorry? No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No.
No, I think you need to increase your volume from that side, because the volume is like 100% over here. Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right. So I was saying we're just asking about the value of the gaming industry in Nigeria, and going back to your article you had in the Guardian, where you talked about the value and you talked about the distribution models. Yeah, I did see that. So the thing is, we have a model that has been said. We have a value that came from Newzoo, a global value that they projected are going to be $172 million, and then PricewaterhouseCoopers said were about $142 million. What is your take on that, and where do you see what is the your view on the value that we have in terms of GDP contribution? We are using your audio again.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
My phone was saying that first of all, I didn't write the Guardian article.
Right.
However, I think I did a presentation at one of these tech conference in Guardian reports that I was there. So they wrote the article.
All right.
Yeah. So, but then you're right.
All right.
In Nigeria, but yeah, so that's it. Other than that, I think
Yeah, the
Subway, Surf, Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans.
Like numbers I could get for
Audio. Yeah?
yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think there's a proper or an authoritative or more recent what's it called research that has been done for the gaming industry specifically in Nigeria just to look at the numbers that
Okay. Good enough. We'll proceed to the next question, which is what part what Hugo has answered a while ago, but we'll just revisit it. The value chains for the industry in our local markets in terms of platforms and what other so it is the question is, where do you see the value chains for gaming in our local industry?
How do you mean value chain?
So value chains in terms of we know there is hardware, we know there is software, we know there is story writing, we know that. So what other touch points that gaming fits or can fit with in our industry?
Okay. I'll probably just
No, not you. Just
I'll probably like focus the question on where the challenge is with regards to like value chain. I mean, like in terms of like content generation, we all, I mean, like most of us understand the requirements, your artists, your developers, your animators, depending on whether you're like a 2D or a 3D game. But creating content has never been a challenge. You know, there's some bit of technical difficulties with creating content, but once you have the talent in-house or you have the talent available, you can identify the right talent that you need, competent enough to help you execute on your idea. That is not really a problem, right? It's a problem that it's not a problem that money cannot solve. Let's put it that way. Then beyond that, you then start looking at distribution, which I think is where the big issue is. You know, so if you look at what we do, which is building mobile games, you know, we know that the devices are out there. So how many players? Who's using an Android phone here?
Which one everybody?
Right. So pretty much what phone are you using?
One.
Oh, okay. So like 90%, like the 1% that's not using an Android device. So like 90%. So
Yeah.
for the most part, there are those devices that exist. You know, but how do you get your game from whatever app store that you've published it on, whether it is on Google Play or it is on Opera App Store, the FTN App Store, or whatever other app store that is out there in the market. How do you get your game from there onto the devices? Because our core target audience is people in Nigeria. So for me, I mean, like, that's where the big problem is. That there is that, and then there is the second one, which is monetization. You know, so now that you've got your game to the 9 people or the 10 people in the room who have Android devices, how do you effectively monetize those people, right? Where people actually feel that there's significant value that they're receiving from the content that they're consuming to be willing and able to pay for it. So that's just my thoughts on the topic.
all right. Let me just add to that before we go over to Zubair. In terms of value chain, well, we have of course there's the mobile phone and then there's the PC. Sometimes also that has a kickstart in Nigeria is in terms of web, right? Way back into the 80s and into the 90s, we had virtual machines in terms of arcade games, right? Arcade has suddenly died off, but some people do have, I know some communities who have started off with just arcades and getting people in arcades. Will arcade come back? I do not know. That's a question for some other people. Yeah, so you have consoles, web, arcades. You also have something I've always said is you can't have computer PC makers just for gaming, and that becomes the big session. So you have a whole lot of, that's another sort of industry touch points that has come off the back from gaming. And so there are other views, there are other parts there that we're still exploring, right? So I'll just go over to the next question and then So
Should we try to take some questions from the audience just to mix things up a little bit?
exactly. If you guys have any questions, you can
Does anyone have a question?
at the moment. Oh, please go ahead.
The question is, you know, gaming seems to be evolving. You can't compare the games of 2001 to the games of 2011. You know, features, graphics, the whole gaming experience and the like. And I'm even hearing of a VR kind of thing, virtual reality. Is it something that the Nigerian industry cannot touch yet? Or is something that could be in the works? Or we have to skip some hurdles before we actually, because I don't, well, I'm saying the next right thing is we have people come up into this industry,
Yeah.
and of course carry great vision and be like what they are doing there we want to do here
Yeah.
and the likes. And I'm seeing that as a possibility, but not in the near future.
Yeah.
Kind of like, but is that something we can actually look forward to here?
Yeah. Good question. Extremely good question. Now,
Yeah. Hello.
I couldn't hear you well. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so he asked a question on talking about the type of games that have been developed and especially touching on VR, virtual reality, and if virtual reality is something we can do down here in Nigeria, and what are the challenges if what are the challenges for us as developers and those sort of things to actually develop virtual reality games.
I think another way to phrase this question is that can we create games that will compete with the most modern technology? Can we create games that will compete in the global market?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
With the same kind of standard that most of the top studios, whether it's
Exactly.
indie studios,
Yeah.
AAA studios, would adopt. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get that?
Yes, I did.
All right. So
Trying to get two different questions for
all right. All right. Let's people we attempt the question.
So
then we'll continue.
it's a brilliant question. I mean, like, can we? Yes and no. Yes, in that it is not impossible, because like you said that you're attempting to you're learning animation, right? And I bet you that where you are learning it from is not here, right? So you're probably doing some kind of like online course, accessing materials that were not generated from here. So you have access to a basket of knowledge if you wanted to tap into it, which is the yes part. The no part is then the cost, right? Because maybe you're looking at like all the course materials or different courses that you could take, and maybe you were interested in VR, like you saw this course, introduction to VR, you'll be able to do X, Y, Z, and it's like all the things that you want to do, it takes 6 months, blah 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 blah, you're so excited, and then you look at the cost and it's like $12,000. It's like your heart just sinks, right? So yes, you could do it. No, you can't afford it. You see what I mean, right? So for us to be able to challenge and build something that would compete at the global level, right? We need to experiment. We need experimentation. One, we need resources, right? So in VR again, Oculus VR, right? Sorry?
PlayStation VR.
PlayStation VR, right? The cost of those, like these are like thousands of dollars, close to thousands, depending on where you get it, right? But these are things that you need to just have. I got a VR headset I got the Oculus, I don't know which one it is. No, not the Rift. The Rift is the expensive one, so I got the Oculus VR, so the basic one. But you then need like a Samsung S6. It's S6 upwards, right? Yeah, there you go. Right? And how much does an S6 cost? Right? So, I mean, like, it's not like I don't have a phone, but I'm not willing to invest in an S6 just to do that. And this is something, I want to have it. I got the cardboard. Actually, with the cardboard is a lot cheaper, and it works with quite a lot of devices now. So that's great. Maybe I should get cardboard. But once you experience VR, like it changes your mindset, right? Like if I brought a VR headset into my work environment, and I got all my artists and all my developers to experience it, then we need to build something. We need to build something. Then we move into the next phase, which is okay, let's learn the skills, right? And then now there's a cost to learning the skills, right? So it's. Does anybody have like $10 million to experiment with? No, right? So everybody wants you to become like a Pokemon, and then they say, oh, here's like $20 million, here's like $50 million. So what we're doing is we're trying to like create with what we have, with the talent that we have, with the skills that we have, show that we could do something really, really innovative, right? And then subsequently, then the money will come. Then we can now experiment because we have to experiment. Game is experiential, right? You never know